Christmas has to do with my grandpa Hasler. Absolutely love this man. Tall, lanky, dairy man. Um, just love Grandpa Hasler. If there was anything that anyone ever needed, he was the first one there to give it to him, including the shirt off his back. If there was somebody in need, he gladly did it. I never thought twice about it. It was given to help people, and he would get by without so many things just in order to help other people. This Christmas, my grandpa had just been released from the hospital. He'd had a stroke and had lost a little bit of ability to swallow and some motor function with his hands, and he'd always been just a very independent man. In fact, my grandmother had been ill, and he had waited on her so lovingly and caringly for many years, and when she passed away, he became even more independent, able to do things. But this Christmas, as he was released from the hospital, there were some serious concerns. He still lived close to all of us because he had sold his home and moved up to Sunset. But the problem with not being able to swallow, and when he tried to eat, there were times when there was some serious choking that scared him to death, and that his hands just didn't work the way they normally did. Well, I saw that he had some serious concerns and wanted to do something special. And my parents bought him a microwave, which was really a crazy thing. He wasn't sure about that. But we were trying to find ways to help him keep his independence and still be able to function the way that he liked. Well, I had decided that what I was going to do, I didn't want anybody to know. And I thought, I can go to the store and I can buy all these little individual meals that you can microwave in the container, and they just have a pop top, or you pull a paper off. All those things that are instant meals for individuals, from fruits and puddings to vegetables in a can, single serving dinners in a can, or a specially prepared box that you just pull the top off and add some water. I was so excited, and I decided that I was going to sew a giant Santa bag. This would ensure that no one knew that it was me, because I am not a sewer. And I started, I would say, about 4 weeks before Christmas. I just so excited. I don't even like going to the grocery store, but this turned into a game to see all the things that I could get for him, from juices and fruits to soups and dinners and all those wonderful things that we have now that help people have an individual meal without a lot of effort. Well, the plan was that I would just wait until Christmas Eve. And this is a time when I could actually sneak up to somebody's house, drop something, ring the doorbell, and get away before they caught me, because I wasn't known for my speed, you know. Well, Christmas Eve, spent time with my parents. We went over and visited with my grandpa. And it was soon time to say good night and Merry Christmas. I left, my parents left, and I went home. I waited just long enough to know that my parents had left and that my grandpa was probably getting ready for bed. I loaded up my huge Santa bag filled with all these fun things and anything that I could think of that would make his life just a little bit easier, or something that would be really fun for him. And I mean, it was one big heavy bag, and I was so excited I could hardly wait. And it was 9:30, so I loaded it in the car and I drove up to his street. And he lived on a little bit of an incline street, and as I was driving up, I saw that his front windows were shut, but I could tell that his reading lamp was on. And so I pulled up past his home and got out of my car. and I grab that heavy bag, and I'm sneaking through the neighborhood, just praying that nobody sees me and calls the police, thinking I'm a Christmas prowler. But anyway, I get there, and the light's still on, and I set the big bag down about 2 feet out from his door so that he can open the door comfortably and get down and pick it up. Well, as I put it down, I ring the doorbell. I hear it ringing, and I run to the side of the garage. So I'm out of sight, but I can hear, and I listen as the door unlocks, and then I hear the door open, and then the screen door click open, and I hear my grandpa say, "Oh, my stars and garters, look at this!" And I can tell by the sound in his voice, he is tickled. I am ready to bust. I am so excited. And I hear him chuckle, and I hear him giggle, and I can tell he's looking around, trying to see who it was. And I'd been really careful so that you couldn't see where I'd ran in the snow from my footprints. And I sat there and I listened. Oh, and I could just tell he just kept giggling, and he's, "Oh, my lands, look at all this stuff." I heard him lift it up. I heard him go back inside. I heard the screen door shut. Then I heard his door shut and the bolt lock. I quietly snuck around the house and got in my car. I went home that night. I thought there could never be a better Christmas. Even though I was all alone, this had to be one of the funnest times in my life because somebody that I really loved was really happy. I thought it couldn't get any better, but oh, was I so wrong. The next morning, I had it all worked out, had a gift for my grandpa because I thought, you give him a gift, he's not going to think that I was the one that did it. And as I went over to visit my grandpa, and he had me come in, he said, Gayle, look at this. I looked over, and he had set up a card table. And on that card table, he had organized all those little cans and items and everything. And he said, look at all this, Gayle. Somebody dropped this off. And I said, oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. Who did it, Grandpa? And that's when my heart was going to burst as I listened to my grandpa. And he said, it must have been the nurses at the hospital. They were so kind to me. Oh no, maybe it's my neighbors. My neighbors, they've been so nice to me. It must be my home teachers. Oh, maybe it's... And he went on, and he went on and on as his eyes filled with tears and his voice began to crack. And I realized what the true meaning of Christmas is. When you know that there's people that love and care about you. And the happiest thing about Christmas is not what you get, but seeing someone else so touched and so happy, and realizing that they're loved by many people. So many people, they can't even begin to count. I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I hope you find some way to light the world with love and let people know that our Father in heaven loves them. Merry Christmas.